Yay, we made it. And I did. Guess what I did? I shared it before the thing. So celebrate, celebrate. Welcome to Divinely Designed 21st Century Women. We are 5 of a team of 8. One will probably be joining us just a little bit late. I hope she doesn't get a speeding ticket. And that's Latasha because she's jamming up the hill and stuff to, on camera. Sochi is celebrating little Sochi's birthday today. Happy birthday, Sochi Junior, I call her. And Anita is getting stronger with every day. So hey, Anita, what's up? How you? Okay, my name is Lenzine. Crystal, Jenny, Leslie, and Michelle are all here and waving, and Latasha should be joining us shortly. So I've done all of the name calling. I was doing so well. Anyway, typically we have this interesting dialogue. We find it interesting. We need to. And if it's not interesting, we stop it and start another one so that it can be something that shows that we're not just pretty faces and we're not empty heads at all. We have things to say that pertain to the kingdom of God. And on that note, I'm going to just be quiet for just a few minutes to get myself focused for the questions that will come forth tonight, while we are welcoming Leslie back tonight. And therefore, since y'all ain't heard that cute little voice, she's going to open us up in prayer. Take it away, beautiful.
Thank you, Pastor Lonzine. So, Father, we thank you for joining us here again tonight. Thank you for bringing me back on after being away for a while. Put your words in our mouths so that people can hear our hearts and what you want them to hear through our testimonies tonight, as well as for each one of us here, that it helps us grow from each other. Thank you, Father. Amen.
Amen. Okay, well, we lost Crystal for a minute, but I'm sure she'll be back. We're just having, Crystal and I live in the same town. And sometimes one of the things that we encounter is the internet issues. So that's kind of one of the things. But what I want to talk about, I think, at least that one of the things that we get to take a chance to recount is some of the conversations that we've had over the last couple of weeks. And one of the things that we have talked about just last week had to do with how we're going to roll out for the rest of the year. We will hit the halfway mark. Really, what is it? In 2 more weeks. So we have 1 more week in May, and then we're going to get into June, and that's the halfway point, because our very last broadcast is actually the 30th of December in this year. We've been talking about that, and we're going to continue to say that so that you all have an idea. We're not suddenly leaving, but it is a planned departure. And the reason is simply the fact that after 3 years, the team has been taken. I don't think we've run out of conversations, because honestly, we can talk for the rest of the time we're on the planet. So and talking to this particular group of people is very simple to do, because this is a group of people that I love very much. Hey, Tasha. So welcome back, Chris.
Thank you.
So as we're looking at what we're doing, we'll say, hey, Monique, and hey, Cousin Hester. Cousin Hester, it's you. Welcome back. And Monique, we're missing you too. So I'm glad to see you both. But one of the things is that as we're looking at rolling out, going out, we want to go out, we pray as a success. We have been working on our lives ourselves for the last 3 years. I will, when it come back around to me, I'm going to tell you guys some of the stuff I'm up to, because I'm going to go for some visual, tangible, tough things. I finally decided to accept some personal challenges and to meet them head on and to break through. Probably, maybe not tonight, maybe next week or week after, but it definitely is something that will be discussed. But our challenges, the things that we've said, are bold statements, and it looked like after we made bold statements, there was just an eruption of bold attacks against us. Well, that's just, it goes with the territory. It's not something that we really, I don't think we need to be too upset over. God, I've got a couple of different things. So tell me which direction you want to go in, but I'm going to tag Michelle when I finish this part because I want her to answer this, especially Michelle and Latasha. Reason is that the day after the Monday after Father's Day, we are going to be graced on this panel with two big shots of testosterone. And that's going to be our opportunity to watch our sisters navigate because we will be hosting Michelle's husband, Ryan, and Latasha's bestie, Todd. So, with those two gentlemen on board, I'm sure it's going to be a yabba dabba do time. And so, my ladies, one of the things I want to ask you, it's a different level of it. Just when it's your best friend, you're going to just naturally beam. Tasha just went like, oh no, and she's coming back, but she'll be back. She can hear me. But Michelle, we know what you're like when Ryan comes on. So, you're just a mess. Just to be really honest with you, you're like a puddle of oozy goodness. So it's going to be kind of fun to hear what your thoughts would be in terms of anticipating your husband, sharing the broadcast of this particular one, where basically he gets to be like ears in more so with you and your friends. I'll come back later. Let's just open up with that one. And then I want the rest of us kind of just to comment a little bit on what it's been like as we've been thinking, well, what men do we know? And, all of the things that we've gone through, most of them are not watching because I don't think we thought to tag any of them. So tag them and some of them. And and invite them to join in as we kind of talk about them, but it's not about them. It's just the thought of, okay, we're going to have these dialogues with them. Michelle, do you see this? That's a help me, rescue me, take over. I've said enough. Thank you.
It's going to be interesting, I believe, not just because one of the gentlemen is my husband, but I say that because even though Ryan and we talk all the time, like I said, he's not just my husband. And not just to give a cliche, he is my best friend. I talk to him um, for the most part, and not trying to sound, far off the deep end, but after God and telling God everything, I literally tell Ryan that's, the order of the way it goes. But one of the things I think I can say that I look forward to and maybe have in mind are some of the maybe going back in my notes and looking at some of the questions that we posed to each other, and that we could give or get, if you will, a different perspective from him, not in the cliche form of being, again, my husband, but a male perspective. And so I'm thinking about, seeing if there were any questions that we, talked about, according to the notes that I've taken. you know um some weeks I didn't, but for the weeks, and I had questions myself. So thinking about those, and I could have passed it off, but she'll be back. But yeah, thinking about some of the questions that we pose to one another. So I'm looking forward to maybe going through some of those questions and then asking, seeing if like we could shoot out those questions to them that would give a good perspective to them to see what it is they would think or what it is they would say. Because we, like you said, we talk and will talk continually even after the broadcast is complete and finished. But having a male point of view, I guess, if you want to say it like that. I don't have a better way to say it, but just wondering, a kingdom male, um, and wondering what it is they think. But that's what I'm looking forward to doing, asking him maybe a question or two that we had a very good strategic week. Shucks, come back, Latasha. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Posing some of those things to him. There you go. And
But
I pass
Natasha,
it to
before
you.
you bug out, what we're
Okay.
giving you is the opportunity to answer the same question. And then one of the things that we're pointing out is I think a lot of people think we're just a female talk show. And so that we only talk about things that are of interest to women. That would be so boring to me. It really would, because there's a whole wide world of people out there. And so what kind of questions do you anticipate asking Todd, when he's here? Again, best friend type of, you've described him as your best friend. The only thing we've done is put a name on it, but it's, no more incognito, folks. So, there we go. So what are your thoughts?
Well, similar to Michelle, going back into some of our archives and seeing some of our more challenging conversations, I guess, and seeing it from a male perspective. But just off the top, I mean, there's so many, but I mean, we've talked about so much: relationships with women, relationships with male friends, what is our idea of a kingdom relationship? What's the difference between a kingdom relationship and a regular relationship and a Christian relationship? I mean, it's so broad, the things that we've talked about as women, but it would be really interesting to hear what the men would have to say about that. Or I know for Todd, how has he expanded in the kingdom as a male? What would he have to say, or what would Ryan have to say about that? Their own personal growth in the last year, and hearing about their challenges and their thought processes and what they've gone through. Similar to what we've all gone through. So, so, I mean, that's immediately what comes to my mind.
Okay. I'm kind of interviewing everyone because we don't all have male best friends. You do, the two of you do. Do we have male best friends? That's an interesting question. I have friends. I'll even say I have one that I think of, if anybody's going to get the title of, male best friend, he gets it, because it's the person that I trust the most, but that's come over time, building the trust. So, so, I'm Jenny, take over.
So what some of us are in the process of trying to do is, first of all, identify who would we invite, and then secondly, because we don't have someone who's a best friend, how would those questions be different? Because it's different talking to someone, not well, for me, it would probably be an acquaintance. Because, I mean, truly, I'm trying to think. So how would those questions be different? What would we do different? Is anybody else struggling with who they would invite like I am? Because it's something to consider. Nobody? Well, I'm glad you've all got it settled.
Mine is already invited. But what I think about are also those conversations where we talked about some of the areas of relationship, not just relationship, but friendship relationship, and those questions about whether even dealing with confronting one another concerning areas that, okay, I see there that you're dealing with something. Okay, let's get the stink off of you and encourage you to come up, like even talking to them about those areas, and talking to them about, like, even with men, like how do they deal with that? How do they, whether it be encouraging one another, how is it that they do things like that? How do they, build each other up as men, or even another sister? So I think of those areas as well. Excuse me, not just getting in a male-female relationship, but also dealing with friendships. How do you deal with that? And are there times you got to confront each other and say, yo, dude, your crown is leaning. Let me straighten that up for you. But even talking to them, I'd like to know those areas too. But back to Jenny's question.
Well, I think Jenny's question is very valid. And the part that you said, do I want to mention who it is? Not yet. No, not yet. But I will say that it's, in some sense, it's because this is new for us, just to this whole frame of things. And one of the things that we're learning to develop, and I apologize for laughing, sometimes I just get hit in the funny plexus. Is there a funny plexus? Is that a bone or anything? Solar plexus, what? No? Okay. Well, I have one. So I have a funny plexus, and my sense of humor got touched. I so apologize. Not really, but I did. Anyway, I think that because in the circles that we live in, the way that things are framed, as we're transitioning, there's a mindset that's Christian that is not the kingdom mindset. And learning to navigate those friendships that way. Women in Christian circles are really, and I'm deliberately framing it as a group that we prayerfully have graduated from, or we grow up out of, because maybe some of you sat in on some of those seminars and things that they had where they defined clearly the woman's role and the man's role. And it was some of the most heavy duty bondage kind of things that went on. I remember even I ended up getting divorced anyway because it was an abusive type of relationship. But I remember going to one of those things that was supposed to be like a marriage saving thing. And you got so guilt ridden at the end, not fulfilling your roles. I even remember somebody telling me that the troubles that we were having in my marriage after I started stress eating and I gained a lot of weight. And the counselor that we went to told me straight out that the problem with my marriage was my body. It was all my fault, regardless of what kind of wonderful person I was, the person I was married to, how he was expressing himself. The counselor basically told me it was because of how I looked, that I had disappointed this person that had married me only for better. And now that I wasn't that anymore, I didn't deserve to be treated better. Yeah, I know, Michelle. You see, my funny plexus got hit. He really did. I was really told that. And so sitting through that thing where it was like, well, your role as a woman is this, and your role, and I am not for all of this nonsense that goes out there that a lot of women like to proclaim, women hear me roar, and all this other kind of foolishness. That's not, I love being a woman of God, and I wouldn't turn that in for anything. Okay. But what I am going to say is, with that being the case, sometimes maybe we're afraid of touching things too closely because we can get shocked. I'm fairly strong, but I've found some areas where I'm still hurt a little bit. And so I'm doing what I do, which is, oh no, we got to get that out. And I'm not letting it stay, but I know it's like, wow, you get a little sensitive, in this area. And that's when, I hope this is answering it. That's when we look to the other party, regardless of which one you are in the relationship, to be perfect, to try to, I think, to fit the image, to fill the broken part of us, never really realizing what we're doing. And that's when you become subject to needing the approval of other people instead of being able to just enjoy the company or the presence. So those are kind of what some of my thoughts are on that, if that helps. And so when I have male friends, I don't, if their crown is crooked, then I'm going to help him put it up. But what I'm not going to do is find fault. I will find fault with a man as much as I find fault with a woman. And you all would be a witness of whether or not I'm a fault finding type of person. And I don't think I am. So if I am, I'm surprised, and I'll have to change that. But I don't believe I call anybody to say, let's, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with me. My comments typically, you've come up on my radar. And that's true. And so I've prayed for you. And sometimes I get the nudge to call you or text you or reach out to you or something as well. And sometimes I don't. So mayhap that's kind of Jenny, is that in the mix of what you're talking about? Yeah. So male best friends. Yeah. Awesome thing. Yeah.
Well, Zine, I think it was last week you had opened up something about male friendships and you wanted to explore this a little bit more. I don't remember how you posed the question, but I remember thinking it was something about emotional ties or something. Can you rephrase that? Because I thought that would be a really good conversation. But one question I have for the men would be one that we've all asked each other was, how do you, or what attracts you, or what in your mind is a kingdom woman? So write that one down.
Write that one down. Okay, gentlemen, if you're watching us, and we know you are, incognito mayhap and hiding and stuff, but if you're watching, take notes. Jimmy James Robbins Parker. And did we tag Michael? Pastor Mike Rodriguez? Let's get him too. I don't mean get him, but anyway. What does define a kingdom woman? That's a great question to find the answer to. So what I was talking about before, what I was talking about before was, oh my goodness gracious. Okay, Tasha, was okay. Soul ties. It has to do with when you have an emotional memory of something that somebody else has done. My former spouse, this guy in high school, whatever it was, did thus and so. And I have always been on the lookout for that to happen. I grew up around a lot of drunks and drug addicts. So it's kind of like, no, I was not a Christian when I chose not to drink. I was really happy with my tequila sunrises and margaritas, but then I kept noticing I kept ordering virgin drinks. They'd say like a white wine spritzer, and I would be like 90% spritzer, and then 15% ice, 5% wine. And I just finally realized, and this is when I was going out and about, and I finally was like, I actually like to drink. I don't like the taste. So it was not a religious thing for me. But of course, then, you come into the Christianity part, and oh, Lord, anyway. So, you get into all of that. But what I'm talking about is ties, connecting. These are, come back here, girl. These are the things that when you start looking at it, you think, I can't associate this behavior with everybody that I meet because I've become expectant of it. I've created an atmosphere where this can continue to come around instead of going to the Spirit of God and saying, okay, so I have some emotional issues. I know you know about them. And I'm ready for these type of things to be dealt with so that when I go into whatever I go into next, I don't have a suitcase full of the dirty laundry or a trunk full of the unresolved issues. I'm going to get them resolved first. Sometimes maybe you have to do that with the person. Walk me through this or walk with me through it or whatever. But what you don't have to do is accuse somebody else because this happened to me with this person. I don't expect to be in another abusive marriage ever, but I have to get rid of the victim's mentality that I developed in that marriage, the things that I did that contributed to that kind of thing. So that's what I'm talking about is cutting myself off from being led by emotions that are actually dead and dead weight. And instead letting go of them, instead of assigning that individual to, like here's a string. Now I'm going to, because I have to keep these terrible emotions. So let me connect them to you so that I'll have a way of playing it out. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Does that help? I was just very
I
happy.
have a question for you, Pastor Ronzi.
Huh? Say
I
that
have a
again.
question for you.
Oh,
So-
wow. Am I being interviewed? Okay.
So when you're talking about connecting to somebody, do you think, or are you saying that when you're talking to God, that He's actually putting somebody there for you to help you grow out of those areas? And how do you see that? How do you identify that that's what that is?
How do I identify it? You mean like, do I ask the Lord, or?
How do you know that that person is there to help you out, to get out of that rut that you're in?
Well, hello, yes. How do I know? I know by how they hit my vibe. I hope
Okay.
do you understand what I mean by that? What I
No.
mean is, okay, there is a way that a person will approach you and they can say certain things to you. And it can be the exact same thing someone else has said to you many times, but the package that the words are delivered in is different from the way that it was before. There's a kindness connected to it. There's a caring that is connected to it. It's still the same words. It's truth, but it's not truth that's trying to get in your face. Instead, it's like the person said, I've come alongside of you to help you to defeat the thing that's been coming after you. And that's when I know that that's when I know that it's uh, better. That's that's how I know. Help me, please.
I'll
I told you
yes.
before we went live I was going to act silly, but I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't.
Well, I'll pose another question, and I guess in the sense of, even in that, because we're coming up to them being on the broadcast, and with what Leslie just asked, in the same token, if you will, we are supposed to help one another. So even with, your question with him, about him helping you get out of that rut, if but things I know I've learned, even in the years that we've been married, some of those things were learned trial and error, if you will. So those things were learned on the way, and I'm sure you ladies do understand, having been previously married yourselves. But those areas now, are there areas that you all see, even with yourselves, that that not just the Lord, because a lot of times I believe, one of the mindsets that we needed help with is that, oh, God is going to be the one to do everything, as if he had a magic wand and it's like, poof, this is going to be gone. And, but there are areas that we have to learn, some things, yes, God will do. Yes, we do pray concerning those areas. However, some of those areas are areas that he places in our laps and says, no, you work on this. I want you to work on that. So even in the same token, with whoever it is coming to assist you, help you, those areas, what areas are those that you, or not areas, are you able and willing to receive and to help? Not just, because I know I can imagine, years ago, even myself, if somebody was said, oh, he's going to come and he's going to help you, because you got this and this and this. And I probably would have been like, what do you mean I have this and this? Like, what are you trying to say? But now, being of the mindset, the kingdom mindset that, we are in now, it's like, okay, yeah, that's why daily we should say, creating me a clean heart, seriously, because sometimes, we can, you know be a little, off, the deep end, if you will, or, and need some pulling back. So what are those areas? Are you willing to help? Are you willing to, be used?
I'm going
um
to jump in on that one.
okay.
And this time I'm going to do it without laughing. Okay. But this is hilarious to me. One of the things I remember years and years ago, years and years ago, before I married, and I would take walks all over the town that I was living in. And the Spirit of God, I would have these conversations with him about, well, what's marriage supposed to be like and all this, because I'd come out of a heathen lifestyle and I'd come into Christianity, and it's all part of my testimony of being in a church where behavior modification was a real big deal. So I was trying to be, you know, get rid of I had gotten rid of the club mentality, and I had taken on the church mentality, not the God mentality, but but still I was talking to him. And one of the guys, there were a lot of men that were basically like just hound dogs and stuff in the church, and they did a lot of stuff to get women in compromised positions. And one guy, I'd gone out to dinner with him or after choir rehearsal or something, and he told me straight out, he said, you're one of the good ones. You're one of the pure ones. Basically, what he was saying was that most of the women that were in that church were just there to get a man. I was actually there for God. And this was very early on. And believe me, I made so many mistakes. But I remember him saying that I didn't know what he was talking about because I thought everybody was there for that reason. So I'm talking to God and I'm trying to figure this thing out. I don't know that I'm still a victim. I don't know that I'm still going through so many pains and hurts, and that I was very reactionary. Like most of us, I followed my feelings. I followed my emotions. Wherever they went, I was going. And, not wisdom, feelings. This is what I feel or don't feel. I was depressed. I was, oh my gosh. It was, I could really, you know what I'm saying? It was just that person that the rise and the fall of them, their emotions are what determined how they were going to be. Now, the one thing I was consistent on was that I loved the word of God, you see, but I wasn't mature. I wouldn't grow up. It was, and I could, that was that thing. So the Lord's talking to me about he didn't talk to me about me in that moment. He was talking to me about what it was that I was supposed to be in the marriage that he had for me. And I realized years later, not the one I went and got. And so what he said was that I was a part of the healing, that I would be the sounding board, the person that he could talk to, that this and this. And I'm not going to get into all of that. But my point is that I learned from God, even when I was in the hellishness of life and all the other stuff, I wanted to be that for my spouse. That's why I went through and stayed. I basically left the marriage because he forced me out. It was either die, or get out. And I had to get out. And I hated it because I hate divorce. I've said that before. I ain't going into that. Anyway, bottom line, I became predisposed to care, not to try to change, but to care, to listen, not to agree with what might be evil for him, but to not require him to be perfect in the eyes of others. And I started getting delivered from the opinions, even of my elders, not the elders themselves, not all of that, because you treasure and you, I hope, pursue their wisdom. We need it. But everybody has an opinion amongst other things. You see what does that make sense? Go ahead.
I think too, I know for me, or if you think of it this way, is the person, are you guys assigned on the same road as far as like, we can be on a team. Like I know the 6 of us here, the 8 of us on in this Divinely Designed, we are assigned to this. And so therefore, what we go through with each other is going to sharpen me. So even if it's a friendship in a male, you have to look at, and I know this from experience, you look at it because there's been times I want to separate myself, but it keeps coming back too, because we're on the road. We're assigned to sharpen each other. There is no exit because and then after not that there is no exit, but if I'm hearing from the Spirit of God and not my flesh, I'm on the road. And it's like having a destination and you're both walking on the same road and you don't want to walk on the same road because it hurts and it's painful because I have to change and I don't want to change. But you're both walking on this journey. And it's like looking, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to relate to you. I don't want to do this, but you're still on that journey. And so you can not do it and then you don't change, or you can allow it and recognize, because I know that the times that I have felt that way, when I pray about it, I'm the one who needs to change inside. And then I see him in the Spirit and I'm like, okay, Lord. And I know this person's in my life to sharpen me, whether they be male or female. They're in there to sharpen me. And it just keeps going that way. And then if my will, it's like, okay, I'm done. Like, that's it. No, you're not done, because I didn't say that. My emotions and my flesh wants to be done. But really, it's there to sharpen me. It's there to correct me. And it's a pattern. I've seen it as a pattern in my life. And I recognize, okay, this is so good for me, because it challenges me and it causes me to change, because when I pray about it, it always comes back to me.
Come on, Chris, it's your turn.
Yeah, I knew it was my turn. I was trying to get it unmuted. Honestly, I don't even know how to contribute to some of this, because it's so funny. I have, gosh, I can't count them on one hand how many male friends I have. It's not that I don't want them, but it just hasn't rolled out that way. Can I say that? And I can't say the last male friend, because let me think about this. Alfred, he was a friend. You know what I mean? He was a friend. But gosh, I could count him on one hand, to be honest. So all of this, I'm listening, I'm taking it in. And my real male friend was my husband, and that was over 10 years ago, 13 years actually. Right? He's passed since then. But but to have I don't know if it's because I haven't really desired to have a male friend, but it wasn't, I really haven't desired to have a female friend. I'm friendly. So those that, I'm friendly with, who we attract to one another, they just have been females. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So.
No.
What?
Have just not wanted the men that have come around, that you were not open. And I think it was good, because some of them were scalawags all the way, no doubt.
Oh yeah, they definitely weren't for my friend.
No,
but say anything bad. It just wasn't. They were not the people that I met, and the men that have come around in the years that, in the last few years, they just were not meant to be close to me. It was, but I'm always friendly. I really am, even no matter who it is. I always say hello. I'm always, I believe I'm generous with my time, but I'm just very reserved in certain areas. And I don't mean to be, that's just who I am. And
but do you think the definition, what you're saying, and keep going, but the definition of friend in this case, maybe we don't all have the same definition. You know, what Michelle means by it, what Latasha means by it. And then with the rest of us, as we're looking, going, well, what would I refer to as a best friend? And no, it's not necessarily required, but I think too, we're maybe hesitant to let anybody have that spot, because in your case, Bradley, your husband was your best friend, and he's gone. Michelle has made it clear that Ryan, her husband, is her best friend.
Right.
As Tasha said, she and her friend have been in the complicated, uncomplicated, hokey pokey state. So but one thing that you know when you see the two of them together is that they are solid. There's a core of connection between them. And so that's something that, you know, you allow to continue to be. I'm sorry. You know, you continue to be. And so maybe that's what it is. We guard the spot because we don't want to give it prematurely. So I don't know. What do you think in terms of your friends? Is that in your mind anyway?
You know what? Maybe, because I haven't really thought about it, to be honest, except for when we talk on this program. I don't sit back and think about, even you ladies, you have come into my life because God put you in my life. You know what I mean? Really. It wasn't like I said, well, I want more friends. No, it just, in the course of my walk, that door was open and you guys you came in. It's not that I know that we have free will to choose our friends, but I guess because of where I'm walking and the people that I associate with right now, that I just haven't had that opportunity. Not that I don't want it, I just haven't had that opportunity, really.
One of the things, even with what you were saying, it makes me think of, and let me say hi to those I haven't said hi to, on behalf of us, Cynthia Perez, Minister Nicole, and Miss Delosi. Hello to all of you out there. Again, Mama D, hello, and thank you guys for joining us. But it makes me think of, whether it be male or female, that term we read in the Bible, being equally yoked. And when we talk about that, you know, for a lifetime, and I remember even hearing it as a teenager, we think, okay, that meant believer, unbeliever. And that's the sum total of what we tended to think being unequally yoked was. And so actually, you can be unequally yoked with another believer, because their mindset is not, you know, they're not kingdom minded. They're happy, just, okay, I've accepted Jesus, I go to church every Sunday, that's the sum total. You know, I don't want to go through any trials, and you have a different pursuit. So even whether it's male or female, you know, sometimes, like, it's like, okay, and I don't know if you guys, you know, want to answer that on either side of the coin, whether it's, you know, I know we're talking about the conversations that are coming up with men soon, but also with females, and those of you out there watching the broadcast, being equally yoked with a friend. And you can tell the difference, because, you know, it's not a constant battle. You're not, you know, always having a difference of opinion, and as far as, you know, kingdom things are concerned, concerning the word of God. Do you guys find that? Because I think that's where we are now, especially a lot of us out here, and, you know, being more mature in life. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, older, but being more mature in life, you know. So the way we handle things in our 20s and our 30s, those days, you know, those days are over. But do you find that I think that plays a major role in, you know, whether we find a friend?
I'll go. Yes, absolutely. You know, I think there's there are many people in my life that are dear to me that because we're not in the same place right now, we don't communicate as much as we used to. Doesn't mean I care for them less. Um, and there are times when that even it bothers me, um, because I think, well, I should be that demonstration to them. But in this moment, for me, I'm learning and I'm stumbling around. And so the thought of trying to bear witness to someone with my actions seems almost irresponsible. I know it's not, but I think y'all understand what I'm saying. It's like eh, eh, I'm in the place right now for me that I'm learning and growing. It I couldn't even yet. I'm close, but not yet. I couldn't tell somebody what I'm going through. They could witness it, they can see it, they can, but can I explain to someone yet what I've experienced over the past 2 years? I I I don't think I can, not adequately. And so that has brought a separation to us, but I don't think it's permanent because these are people that you will be called to be a demonstration to. Because as you become more victorious in this kingdom life, then then you bear witness to those and you can speak to the fact that it's this is how I got here. This is the journey that the Holy Spirit has taken me on. And I was thinking about the people that some of the people that have been brought into my life over the past few years. There have been moments that it was not comfortable. It was I would have just as soon not had those people in my life. But there's such great purpose in what's happening in both of us. And the thing that God showed me quickly, I can't say I always do it well, but he made it very clear to me it's not about that person. It's not about how they rub you wrong. It's I'm talking to you. That's exactly what he said to me one time. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you. In other words, what I have to talk to them about is none of your business. I'm here with you now to address the problems you have. And if you want to talk about someone else's problems, then you're not ready to grow because it's not for me to fix somebody else's problems. I got enough of my own that I need to work on and have purged. So those are just my thoughts on it.
I think Leslie was stepping up to the mic, so I'm going to push her over and give her that. We don't get to hear from you that often, beautiful. So it really is. I heard a lot from you last night, but
So I agreed with you that our definition of a friend is different amongst all of us. But my best friend, just like Crystal, was my husband, and we shared everything like Pastor Michelle. So in moving forward, knowing what you had, the good parts of it, that is, because there were some ugly parts too, but the good parts of it and knowing what it takes and what a real friend looks like and is the difficult part to find. I'm surrounded by men every single day. Okay. A lot of them want to be friends and all that, but no. I have that boundary around there. But that one person will stand out. That one person will stand out. It's just, how do you know? Because sometimes you're blind to see what's right in front of you sometimes.
Do you
Does
think
that
your
make-
spirit, do you think that your spirit recognizes it maybe before your the I'm going to say the soul part, the mind, the hurt parts? Because even as you guys are talking, I hope we do come back to this one next week. It's like what I'm hearing you say, what I've heard in the four of you. Jenny, I think you might say this to me. My husband was not my best friend, not by a long shot. That was not my best friend,
Mhm.
and we were friends before we got together, but he never became my best friend. And I never became his best friend either. So I think that the thing that is necessary, and I'm asking, so then you were viewed by your husbands. I know you are, Michelle, but you were viewed by your respective spouses then as being that person to trust to be their best friend as well, meaning that Ray came home to talk to you. Brad wanted to talk to you. I know Ryan wants to talk to you, and so forth and so on. I mean, is that what you're talking about here? How do we know we're their best friends?
Can anyone jump in? Or are you asking Leslie that
I'm
question?
asking. We only
Okay.
got a few minutes.
How
So
do we?
every-
How do we know that we are their best friends? Just by the relationship. When you can come home and you can talk, he, yeah. Okay, so in my thing, okay, I'll say we're kind of like totally opposites. He loved people. He'd go out, do whatever he wants, and I'd be fine and all that. But he'd always check up on me. If there's something that I needed to do, he was always there. But we always communicated. Every day he'd call me at work to say, hi, how your day is. I love you. I'm here. I got the kids. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we'll be home when you get home. If not, we'll be there shortly. We had date nights every week, one day out of the week. Maybe it was a whole week and that we were gone. But we had the communication. We had where that unconditional love, where whether sometimes you're not lovable but he still loves you. Well, that came here because I was not always lovable. But when you can come home and talk to your wife or that person about everything and anything, he's opening up as, you're my best friend. And we're going to go through whatever it is together. It's not just you and it's not just me, but we're coming together to do what we need to do to keep us together. That is, to me, what I went through. That makes sense.
That does make sense. But for myself, I was Brad's best friend. He would talk to me about everything. And he even said that. For me, he was my close friend, but I could not talk to him about everything because he didn't want to hear about the Lord. The things that when God opened up my heart to him and I wanted to share with my husband, he wasn't open to that. So those things that I wanted to share in that intimacy, he couldn't receive it. So some things I couldn't speak to him about. And that was because he wasn't where I was, but I still cherished our friendship. So to me, it wasn't that we were best friends or from my end, but from his end, definitely. I mean, because that's what he verbalized. I can only go by what he told me. And I know the things that he talked to me about. And I would say, I would like to talk to you about, but he just said, he could not, his words to me were, I know you believe that way, but I don't believe that way. So, there was a limitation So that was one of my heart, I guess my heart cries was, gosh, I can't wait till my husband gets to this point. Unfortunately, we didn't get there, but you know, I expect I will be there with whoever God gives me the next gift, right? So I don't know. I think that the best friendship spot when you're talking about opposite sex, it is, because what other man can be that close to you? You know what I mean? To me, it would be a husband, or we're moving in that direction. I don't know, because when you share everything, intimacy is in that. So that's my thoughts.
I think that because I've been on both sides. But there's to me, you can tell that they're your best friend if it's a male. It's just like if it was anybody here. It's just like if it was my sisters. It's like there's that part of you. It's like you share the parts of your day. It's just like, hey, this is a business decision I made. What do you need? I need to talk to you tomorrow about this. When do you have time? Okay, you get on the phone. Okay, what is it? You pitch it. Okay, well, this is what I think. And you just kind of converse that way. Or it's like even a male can straighten your crown, because that's what my best friend does. He straightens my crown. Like just last week, it was, hey, we were on this call, and I don't know if you heard it this way, but this is what I heard. I didn't want to say it at the time. I prayed about it. I'm coming to you in a way that I hope that, that you can receive this. And I did receive it. It was like, yes. I was like, thank you. There was no offense. It was just like, I was like, he is straightening my crown. Thank you very much. And it's very attractive. So then that's where that other part comes from. It's like where it becomes, and so you have those thoughts, because that is very attractive. But at the end of the day, no matter what, I know that we would be best friends. We will be friends because we truly, genuinely care about one another. And I care about his business. I care about and it doesn't have to be every day that we talk. It doesn't have to be that. It's a real genuine friendship. But like Pastor Lindsay, it's like, okay, define best friend, because do they get that place with you? Because not every male is going to have that place with me. They're not. And I think if we're honest, it's very rare that there are male. It's a very rare thing, I think, because it usually does, a lot of times it does develop into something deeper, which is a good thing. But yeah.
What you said, and we're out of time, and gosh. But what you said just there, it goes back to what I was saying about being guarded. Do I want to let you become my best friend? But what if I end up marrying someone? I don't want to lose you. That's the danger of it, is I don't want to lose you. You've become so valuable to me. I don't want to lose you. But if I marry someone else, I can't keep you. So I guess we've got enough fuel for our next conversation, don't we? Yeah, we do, because this is really great. I'm still getting, some of my giggles come from the stuff I don't say, because we're in a thing and we're having this stuff, and I'm starting to laugh because I'm like, no, you can't say that. No, you can't say that. But you guys, y'all crack me up. Honestly, I just think we're hysterical. And we hope that those of you that are watching, that you all had opportunities. Please, please, please go to the website, go to our Divinely Designed page. Make your comments. Give us other things that you would like us to talk about, or give us the input, how you feel about some of this. If you feel that you can't post it on the Facebook page, then messenger us and talk to us. We're keeping your stuff confidential, but we do really value your input. It is the 6 plus the 2, the 8 of us when we're together, but it's the 8 of us plus you all. So our gentlemen friends did not chime in tonight. We didn't hear from y'all, but prayerfully we'll send y'all these things or something, and get your input on some of the things that are said. We are, oh, Frederick, hey, how you? Okay. So we want to remind you to go to the love-unity.org website, where it's just the home. They're the sponsors of Kingdom First TV, and check out the upcoming convergences happening at the end of June. There's also another one. I don't know if the information is up yet, coming in September, and one in December. And we've run out of time tomorrow on Kingdom Conversations, me, Party of One, and my slides. And I'm going to continue to teach on evidence of the kingdom of God. Ladies, this was amazing. And I do want us to revisit this. So make sure we take notes so that we know what we're talking about today. And because we'd love to hear Sochi's input. And Anita, when you see the video, make your request or make your commentary known as well. That's kind of how we're doing it until December, when we know we'll all be together again. So we really have run over time. We got to stop now. So I'm watching my language. I've got a lot of repetition. I've got to do something about that. Nevertheless, on behalf of Sochi and Anita, Jenny, Michelle, Crystal, Leslie, Tasha, and myself, Lenzine, we want to thank you for helping us to navigate and to come to an understanding of what it really means, not just to be designed, but divinely designed. God bless you all. Thank you so much. And we look forward to talking to you next week. Good night.
Thank you